Business and implementation teams, whether in technology or beyond, have always been in this tug war of rising expectations and missed delivery targets. Although Agile has the power to bridge this divide, poor implementations have failed to deliver. Could AI build upon Agile's potential to finally end the growing friction? Or are we witnessing the final victory of business over implementation, dooming teams to burnout and frustration with no hope for work life balance or job satisfaction? So let's take a look at what is this divide? Where does it come from? And how does it manifest and how does it hurt us? And what can we do? How can AI help us? During the dot-com boom, business teams demanded faster, more innovative solutions from implementation teams. Yet the result was the cycle of frustration. Management was never satisfied with what was delivered, and implementation teams were never empowered to deliver what was needed. The relationship grew more antagonistic with every missed deadline and blown budget. And this constant clash between business and implementation functions reached the breaking point during the dot com. It was the thing that demonstrated that waterfall just simply could not handle the growing ambiguity, complexity, and scale. It's not what it's designed for. It's not what it's good for. It's good for other things. I've said it many times before, and I'll say it a billion times more. It is good for certain things, for projects, for project management. It is not good for product management. So the dot-com really brought this to head because all that was emerging was a lot of new products and services, and they needed to be done very quickly. And there was a lot of ambiguity. And that's what gave rise. It was one of the things. There was many other factors, but that was one of the things. This pain of being having all of these great ideas and great potential, business potential, and the inability to implement it fast enough and well enough. This pain gave rise to Agile Product Management. This was the opportunity, and Agile Product Management began dissolving the silos that contributed to a very toxic divide between these two groups. Now, as we move forward, we look at how AI factors into all of this. And AI has the potential to either finish dissolving the divide, so really taking what Agile started and taking it to a whole new level and another scale and eliminating the divide between these two groups, or it could reinforce the very silos that Agile set out to break. If we approach this the wrong way, history will repeat itself. Just like we ran into problems with Agile, we're going to see problems with AI implementations. So when we look at the origin of the divide, and what are some of the root cause issues? What's some of the mindset that's leading to the divide and the discomfort? Fundamentally, business views itself as the revenue generator and sees implementation as the cost center. Meanwhile, implementation teams are burdened with unrealistic demands and feel undervalued and isolated. As a result, we have a constant misalignment, mistrust, and inefficiency. And all of that translates into time and money and the inability to deliver to customers what they truly need, opening the doors for somebody else to take over the business or resulting in solutions that don't quite meet the needs or don't meet them at the right cost to value proposition or with the right type of capabilities that are needed. What does this look like ordinarily? You've seen it 1,000 times before. So, for example, if a company invests $2 million in a new customer portal, and the business keeps shifting priorities while implementation teams struggle to keep up and adapt. After 18 months, they deliver a product that's 40% over budget, missing critical key features, and still requires another 800,000 to fix critical problems. There's so much damage done. The waste that happens, it's huge. And it's not just the immediate, tangible, direct cost. There's also opportunity costs because somebody else, for example, in the industry, a competitor may have launched in the meantime similar features 6 months earlier. And that erodes the company's credibility and the customer's faith, trust in the company. It can create a lot of damage. So this entire situation could have been avoided through better alignment and shared ownership. That's the key, is keeping everybody moving in the same direction. Now, why does this matter in AI context? Well, AI thrives in a clear alignment when there's clear alignment between business goals and technical implementation. And the silos create these blind spots that lead to wasted resources, incomplete models, or unethical outcomes. That's when we get into trouble. AI really needs for organizations to behave as one company, not two companies, business and implementation, that are working against each other many times, or at least in the best of cases, not working together in a cohesive, harmonious way. So when it comes to AI, it can either amplify or help to solve the silos. And whichever one happens depends entirely on us, on how we implement it. AI offers tremendous potential to break the silos. That's the good news, but only if we approach it with the right culture and mindset. Otherwise, it can make the problems worse. So where it can reinforce the silos or it can make things worse is when business teams adopt AI tools without technical alignment, resulting in incompatible or redundant systems. We can end up in situations where data silos, for example, lead to biased or incomplete AI models that end up causing problems for the company or society at large. When teams over focus on tools rather than strategy or outcomes, we need the alignment between the implementation teams and the business teams all working together. When that doesn't happen, we end up replicating the same mistakes that we made during agile transformations. As I said, the good news is that AI can help us break the silos. Just as it could make the problems worse, it can also help break the silos. And this is where I get really excited. This is the part that I look forward to, that I'm excited to see it happening. And we're getting closer. We're not quite there. There's still a lot of things that need to happen, but I see the signs and I see the opportunities and the potential for this to happen. And it's very exciting. So one of them can be prompt-driven collaboration, where business analysts and developers use shared AI tools to co-create solutions. And that's the key. It's co-creating them. It's not one group defining and then throwing it over the wall and then the other group implementing. Yes, Agile made that better by bringing some of, not all, but some of the business perspective closer to the implementation teams. I seldom have seen good implementations of that. More often than not, it is a representative, somebody speaking on behalf of business that sits with the implementation teams. And it's usually somebody from the implementation teams that has a closer connection to business, but it's not somebody directly from business sitting with the teams. And that's not what we want. We want directly somebody from business sitting with the teams, just as the Agile Manifesto principle talks about. Business and implementation teams working together day to day, side by side, in the creation, the ideation, the definition, and the creation of products and services. Another way that AI can help us is by reallocating efforts. When developers shift from routine coding to strategic innovation, while business teams focus on higher value outputs, that can help us, as well as creating real time feedback loops. We've learned from Agile the value of having feedback loops, the ability, the transparency of seeing things as they are. AI enables continuous alignment by surfacing insights across teams instantly. There's a tremendous waste that happens when you have to bring two disjointed things in alignment. There's the cost of figuring out the information that needs to be communicated and needs to be shared, sharing that information. And it's not just a simple process of making the information available, it's also making sure that it's understood, that it's perceived, that it's interpreted in the proper way so that its context carries over, not just the words and the information. Well, AI can help facilitate that process tremendously. A whole layer of the data surfacing and presentation can be handled by AI, allowing for the teams to focus on understanding, on developing the common understanding around shared data. Now, the capability is there. The possibility to do that is there. But if we don't change the cultural mindset around it, it's not going to make a difference. I've seen this many times. Companies may have the tools to surface data and make it available to everybody. So they have a work management system and all the data is in there. But they've implemented all of these policies of walls around it that prevent everybody across the company from having the shared view of all the data. You have a technology data center group that just sees all of the data related to data center and technology and has no visibility into the products. That doesn't help. We need everybody to have access to all the data, presented in such a way that it doesn't overwhelm individuals. So data that's not directly related to them is not overwhelming them all the time, and have the ability to see it, have the ability to see across the organization what's happening as one company. Again, this is not about having two companies or worse, multiple departments working against each other or competing with each other. It's about having one company that's coming together to deliver products and services to customers. So without a cultural change, the AI adoption will fail just like agile transformations. And that happens when we view AI as nothing more than just another set of tools and processes. So, in order to dissolve the divide, the steps ahead, what's the opportunity that we have at this point? Now that we've gone through a bunch of agile transformations, we've learned a lot from that, the things that work, the things that don't work. The opportunity is to combine the positive aspects and the powerful aspects of agile with having a clear AI vision. So what we want to do is have a technical and cultural transformation, the two working together. Where Agile introduced practices like cross-functional teams, feedback loops, customer focus that begin to break a divide. We want for AI to build on this foundation until we can realize the long-term sustainable change, but only if there's a shift in mindset that aligns the incentives and promotes trust across the company. The key isn't just acquiring AI tools, but creating a culture where these tools enhance collaboration, not reinforce the silos. So we can be looking forward to a future state where business and implementation roles merge. And that's the part that I get excited about. It's literally seeing current roles disappear. And I know there's a lot of sensitivity about people losing jobs. I get that. The positive side of that, what we can, if we can focus on implementing this in a way that it's not just about people losing jobs, yes, roles go away. And the people who are currently there upgrade, upskill into these new roles, these new perspective, which eliminates a lot of the current roles. So business, for example, when we look at business and implementation working together, business drives the strategy while leveraging the AI tools for execution directly without having to depend on an implementation, a separate implementation team from being able to do it. And at the same time, implementation teams focus on orchestrating and optimizing AI, working hand in hand with business goals. So the implementation teams become more aware, attuned, and active participants in the business goals, just as business becomes more involved in and participant in the use of AI technologies for the purpose of developing products and services. So AI becomes the bridge, and culture is what sustains that connection. So in order to do this, in order to get there are practical steps that we can take, and I would classify them in immediate, medium, and long term. So there's different horizons that we can look at this. From an immediate perspective, what I see as really critical for companies to have right now is whenever I talk to clients, one of my first questions I ask them is, what is your AI automation or robotics policy? And as part of that question, it's making sure that there have been discussions between business and technology on what is possible, what is feasible, making sure that the desired outcomes are attainable, and that we're not just operating on hype, on promises, on salesmanship, on marketing. Um, we've already been through that with Agile. Let's not repeat that. So we want to align business and technical teams on AI goals, have a shared and agreed expectations. If we go into this with that shared perspective, we have a much better chance at delivering. If we again repeat the disconnect between the two, we're increasing the likelihood that this is going to fail. So we want to hold cross-functional discovery workshops to break down the immediate barriers. And along the way, there are some progress indicators that we can be looking at to tell us if we're heading in a good direction. For example, are we seeing a reduction in friction in daily interactions? Are we seeing increased voluntary team collaboration? Not that we have to invite, not that we have to reach out and bring towards us, but that we're seeing a voluntary participation. Business wants to be working with implementation teams. Implementation teams want to be working with business teams as they see it as they both see it as necessary for them to be able to deliver the products and services. And there's better mutual understanding of the constraints and opportunities equally. It's not just about having these lofty, wonderful, pie in the sky ideas, but it's understanding what are the limitations and building expectations and building products and services and customer expectations around realistic goals that everybody shares. From a medium term perspective, we want is to be looking at redefining the roles, as I mentioned, is having this merging of business and implementation capabilities, so that everybody can contribute towards delivery and the implementation of products and services. In a way, what I'm talking about is helping us get closer to that teal mindset, the teal company from the Lalu culture model, where all of these strict hierarchical separations, divisions of roles and responsibilities goes away. And we really are looking at having capabilities, a collection of capabilities across the enterprise. And we're leveraging those capabilities when, where, and however they're needed, when they're needed. And that's always shifting. So it's being adaptable. So we want to train business analysts and developers to co-create AI capabilities using, for example, prompter and tools. But it's that co-creation. It's no longer looking at it as somebody else does implementation. It's we all implement together. We want to build feedback loops into all processes to maintain the alignment and trust and to do that transparency, to surface the information. What I was talking about earlier about having that holistic view of the organization, what the company is doing as a whole, as a unit, as opposed to what each department is working on. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter to customers. Customers are looking to get the products and services. Where do we as one company stand relative to that desired outcome and that outcome that we're looking to deliver to our customers? And there's only one view of that, the customer's view. So from that perspective, how does it look like? AI can give us paint a really good picture of that. Let's use that to help drive the decisions and the actions throughout across the organization, regardless of what the function is. Progress indicators along the way to see that we're moving in a good direction could be that business teams successfully create capabilities through AI tools. I understand that right now this can sound incredibly scary and potentially for some people saying, oh boy, that's a recipe for disaster. And if we tried to do it today, yes, it would be quite disastrous. But let's take a look into the future. Let's look at what that future can look like. And we're starting to see signs of this being feasible, where really anybody who is capable of defining, describing the products and services sufficiently well would be able to leverage AI in order to build it and make it available to customers. To get us there, absolutely. Technical teams need to do a lot of prep up work to make sure that this can be done in a safe way and in a way that it's not going to break existing capabilities, or if it's all brand new, in a way that's sustainable and maintainable. So there's a lot of steps that we need to go through. We're not there yet. And let's start looking at getting there. Let's start seeing that future so that we can take the proper steps to get us there. We want for implementation teams. So the flip side of this is the business using the tools to build the products and services. The flip side of that is the implementation teams proactively suggesting business innovations, capitalizing on the experience that they have. They're the ones who have been working closest with customers forever. They understand, they have a good perspective of the customer, a good experience supporting their products and services, leveraging that to help us fine tune, evolve, and potentially redefine business goal, strategy, innovation. This allows us to work as a whole in a way that has faster decision making because we have this shared context. Everybody's on the same page, creating one set of products and services, not just all this fractured, fragmented, inching along to get the products and services out. When we're looking at the long term, there we want to see the shift in organizational mindset. We want to incentivize the shared outcomes over siloed successes. So it's no longer looking at departmental performance, but it's looking at the company wide, that outcome. How are we doing as a company in delivering those outcomes and caring less about the internals and more about how all of the pieces are coming together to deliver those desired outcomes. And we want to develop leadership that is capable of modeling collaborative, agile first behaviors. This is one of the biggest and most serious challenges that we faced with agile transformations is the lack of leadership involvement. A majority of cases, it really was handled as an item on a Gantt chart and just check it off of the list so that we can get back to work kind of mindset. And that's not it. If we do the same thing with AI, we will run into the same kind of problems, but with I would argue, far greater and consequential problems. So we've got to be careful with that one. And if we want to evolve the team structures to reflect the merged roles that AI enables, this is the teal mindset that I was talking about. Getting all the enterprises to teal, not realistic. However, let's move us further away from the from hierarchies, and more towards the teal. What incremental steps can we take? Because the deeper that we can go into that direction, the better and easier it's going to be for us to leverage the capabilities and the full potential of AI. So along the way, the kind of progress indicators that we want to be looking at is having this seamless flow between business and technical initiatives, a natural formation of cross-functional teams around opportunities, not just capabilities. What are the business opportunities? Put the capabilities around that. And decisions are driven by shared customer focus rather than departmental priorities. This is, again, the breaking down of those silos and making the priority be the ultimate outcome that we're all producing together. Now, along the way, there are pitfalls we need to pay attention, keep our eyes open, and watch out for. For example, an over-reliance of the tools, viewing AI as a technical solution without addressing cultural issues. Again, this is a repeat of Agile. Let's not do that. Neglecting alignment, implementing AI without clear shared business goals, which will lead to misaligned solutions. And as I mentioned, be careful with not buying into hype, having a realistic alignment on what's possible and why we need to implement something. Not just because it's the latest pretty shiny, but because there's a real business value and business strategy behind it. We need to be careful not to create new silos. So, for example, if we adopt AI tools that are specific to one department, we could further fragment the organization. Today, we're dealing with the challenges of having at the meta level these two big fragments, the business and the implementation. Well, if we create another category around AI, okay, let's make the problem even bigger. Let's not do that. And to the point of not doing that, let's avoid repeating past mistakes. Treating AI just as another technology acquisition, just as Agile was done. No, we need to really look at the mindset shifts that are needed. I've never said, and I will never say, that the process and tools are not important. Without them, we cannot implement business agility. But if we don't change the mindset, it doesn't matter that we have wonderful, shiny, perfect process and tools. It doesn't make a difference. We'll continue to hammer screws. So, this divide between business and implementation uh, has driven efficiency in the wrong direction for decades. This has cost companies a lot of money, time, effort, and as a result, customers have suffered. Agile product management began breaking this cycle, and AI is now poised to dissolve it entirely if we approach it the right way. So the next thing that you want to do is take stock in your current silos and figure out if your business and implementation teams are aligned or are they pitted against each other. What's going on at that level? And are you building the culture needed to ensure AI amplifies collaboration instead of division? So, by dissolving this divide, we unlock the full potential of AI and create workplaces where strategy and execution thrive as one. I've emphasized a lot of this shift from project to product management and other cultural changes that are needed. So, if you are ready for it and you want to learn more about it, click one of these and I'll be happy to tell you all about it.